We have restroom facilities right down this hallway. 6134 is the number. 6134. It's right by the door. Nico's on our technical side. Becky is, we'll see if she does a good job producing today or not, but she's going to make her best effort. Loretta Douglas, who's always on her phone, is on the co-host chair. Can't even shame her off her phone.
I was reading the thing about Mr. Fish.
Had you not seen it? Mm-mm. I was wondering. I thought you had put it in because must have been who?
No,
Taylor?
we saw Ton at Taste Washington, and we're talking with him about it. So I'm assuming it came from there.
What's going on?
Lowering it a little bit.
You're
You have
doing
that
great.
effect on me.
You're doing great, Becky.
Thank you. All right.
that's funny.
Good morning.
That was a good one, Tom.
Okay.
Let's see. It's only 8:58. We can't really start yet. Welcome, YouTubers, if you're watching this morning.
All right.
I will say, your children last night were the most calm and hospitable that I've ever seen.
They're growing.
Yeah. We had her children, some would say my grandchildren, over for supper last night. They didn't eat very many ribs. Ribs were on sale at the local grocery, and
One
so
each.
I couldn't resist them. Yeah. Normally, Athena would
Yeah.
demolish 3 or
Be in
4 of
there,
them.
yeah.
Yeah.
The other day you called them feral toddlers.
Well,
Was
we
that
were
it?
at their house and they were feral.
I'm outnumbered, okay?
I know.
I'm doing my best.
You're amazing.
I like that you're adding some chores to Rory's plate of things to do.
Ooh,
Nice.
what?
It's to clear and scrape
Yeah,
now.
now he clears his plate, scrapes it, puts it in the sink, and then he sprays and wipes down the table.
Oh, that's so
which
cute.
is, you know,
Is he-
I have to do again afterwards.
Sure.
but that's
That's all right.
Yeah. Is he done vacuuming, or is he still bringing around the vacuum?
He still loves the vacuum. Ellis also loves the vacuum.
Oh.
Unfortunately for Ellie, it's way larger than me.
Doesn't he have the little one?
No, it broke.
Oh, it broke.
Um,
He loved the vacuum so much we bought him a mini for
A fake
Christmas.
one, right?
yeah, we should
No,
probably
no,
get that
a fake
again
one, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
because I bet that the twins would love it. I should get it again.
Annie, what did you just put down in front of us? Brown butter orange Madeleines?
Delicious.
It feels like they're just out of the oven. Are you running late, or did you mean for them to come out perfectly delicious and warm?
15 minutes exactly?
In my tea.
My Madeleines always stick to the pan. Maybe so.
It's like 60% butter.
Can anyone, for a free jar of spice rub, name or tell me the average amount of butter in a croissant? Like a good French, like
The
Dahlia Bakery
percentage.
croissant. What percentage of the dough is butter
It's more than you think.
in a good croissant? Hey, 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 hey! Okay. Anybody? Oh my God, trying to close. 65 and 70 are the closest. You both get a free rub. 66% is our croissant is 66% butter. Yeah. Annie, by weight, what percent of butter is in these Madeleines, do you think? By weight, what percent are these butter? Do you think?
It's probably 1 to 1 almost.
So 50%.
We really sift the flour, weighing it to make it super fluffy.
Uh-huh.
It almost kind of like cake flour, but you sift it and lots of butter in there.
Yeah, there is.
There's even butter wrapper.
And there's a butter wrapper in Loretta's.
And you want to learn how to make it next time I can show you.
Okay. You ever learned how to do this? I can show you. She's feisty on that one.
She is. Love it.
Good start to the day right there. Taylor, what the hell are you doing?
She's at the ready.
You're making her nervous.
I like to use the intro of the show.
You need some of those Spider-Man arms that just kind of...
Or a stick.
Yeah, definitely.
Hi. I'm going to, yeah. All right, here we go. Loretta, are you our audience motivator
I am,
today? Do we have
please.
enough people?
We have enough people. Please clap when I clap. I would appreciate it.
I prefer if you don't, so it's really funny to watch her clap by herself. Welcome to the Hot Stove Society show on Cairo Radio. We are here once again. I am not. It might sound like I'm here, but I'm not.
But you're actually far, far
But
away.
I'm actually playing golf in Scotland right now.
Oh, that's awesome.
When this is airing. So sorry, not sorry. I'm Chef Tom Douglas,
I'm Loretta Douglas.
and we're coming to you from the beautiful kitchen studios of the Hot Stove Society Cooking School here in downtown Seattle. We're on the second floor of the gorgeous Hotel Andra, owned by Mr. Schaefer, one of my golf buddies.
Yeah?
Yeah, exactly. We didn't know each other before we signed a lease down at Lola, and we've become good buddies
You've
over the
become
years.
friends since
Yeah.
then? That's awesome.
It is time for breakfast. Our team here has already started with brown butter and orange madeleines.
It smells
which
so
good
are
in
the
here.
bomb this morning. Annie did a
Perfect.
really good job. They are 50% butter. So don't buy a ticket to the show if you don't want to die. You can always catch us if you miss us here live in the studio. You can catch us on YouTube. We're taping right now, but you can go back and watch any of our episodes. They're all libraried and cataloged and all that sort of thing, right?
See us fumble
By
through
date.
in person.
Fumble? We don't fumble. You just have to go to Tom Douglas and Co. and
The
look
last
at our
outro
YouTube.
I was here for, it took you like
That was
27
hilarious.
takes.
Oh, let's just talk about it. Why don't we? Upcoming classes here. We do both corporate classes here. We're like team builders, things of that nature. But we also do public classes that are usually around 2 hours. Cinco de Mayo with Chef Danae and Cocktail Master Julie Ross is coming up on the 5th. Why do you suppose it's on the 5th of May? Do you?
Cinco de Mayo.
Oh, okay.
But that's a Monday.
Spring Fever with Chef Sean McFadden on May 9th, and Mom and Little Dumpling with
my gosh,
Chef
I wanna
Annie
do that
Elmore on
one.
the 10th. You're going to come to that one?
I want to, yeah.
Maybe we'll get Annie up here to talk about what is Mom and Little Dumpling. Come up here, Missy. Stop, take a break from all that cooking that you're doing back there, and quickly tell us what is Mom and. I'm a big dumpling. What is Mom and Little Dumpling?
So Mom and Little Dumplings, Mom should bring their little dumplings with them.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness!
Like
Aren't
this.
moms always trying to get away from their little dumplings?
They are, but I feel like this is a good time to bond making dumplings together.
You're
Are you
gonna-
going to bring your little dumpling?
Here's what I think all the moms should do: come with your little dumpling,
Drop
and then we have a cocktail bar
And
down
then
at Lola.
Annie will
And leave
babysit.
Annie with all the little dumplings. All right, you can check all of our classes out at thehotstovesociety.com. On today's show, quick pantry dinners. This is something right
My
up your
specialty.
alley. Your specialty. I made one last night.
Did you?
I did. Well, it's a quick dinner because you just put the ribs on and let them sit for 3 hours, basically in the low charcoal grill.
That 3 hour. That's a quick pantry
Yeah.
dinner.
Well, it was. I had the triple garlic teriyaki sauce from my line in my pantry. That's what I used to baste the ribs.
But it's titled quick.
Very quick.
Yeah, 3 hours later. Yeah, we don't have the same.
Well, it doesn't
definition
take
of
your
quick.
full attention for 3 hours.
You still have to be home.
Barbecue or smoking like that is different than grilling. Grilling is like an art, right? Fast grill, sear, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Barbecue is a religion, right? You have to have faith that the smoke is doing its job.
Okay.
And I'm very religious.
I
the smoke.
did know that about you. About
Yeah,
the smoke, yes.
About the
yeah.
smoke. Pamela Hinckley, former producer, former CEO of our company, CVO, also Chief Vegetable Officer, is going to join us. She is the current director of the Pike Place Market Senior Center and Food Bank, and she's going to invite us to get involved
Stone
in
Soup.
Stone Soup, which I went to last year. It is... it just brings you back to a little bit to ground zero, right?
Yeah.
You start to remember what's important and how many people don't have what you
Absolutely.
have.
Yeah.
And if
it's
you
a
need a
wonderful
grounding, this is
tradition
the
that they
perfect
have.
place to go have lunch.
Yeah.
It takes an hour out of your time. They really do make it an hour. It's gets you back down to the Pike Place Market, which maybe you haven't been to in a while. Park in a parking lot somewhere and just take a stroll. Take an amble down the cobblestones of the Pike Place Market.
Yeah.
And, the senior center is in the bowels. You kind of have to make
A
your
little
way
tricky.
down. Yeah.
Tricky to find.
It's good. It's good fun. Explore. The Hot Stove Society tasting panel. Tell us about this, Becky.
Tortilla chips. We got Cinco
Why?
de Mayo coming up.
Cinco de Mayo.
And, it's a pretty popular thing this time of year.
Yeah.
Super Bowl.
Do you have a
and,
favorite brand?
I'm going to find out.
In our house, we end up with Juanitas the most.
You know what? It's now called Juantonios. I just
No,
noticed.
it's not.
Yes, it is. Don't know why. I'll look
It
it up.
went from a lady to a dude?
The patriarchy.
Oh, my God. I did not know that.
Yeah, I
used to
was looking at the
always
label.
think they were my favorite, and now I'm not sure they are. So I'm curious. Are they in our mix
Yes,
today? I'm
yes.
curious what is going to come out on top. Chris DeFore is here of Gallagher's, where you brew. He's going to share a story behind his Edmonds Space Community Brew House. For some reason, it used to be called Deadman's. I mean, for years we called it Deadman's. It was really a retirement community. Now it's just like hipster enclave.
Yeah, it's
What is
gorgeous.
going on with that?
It's beautiful.
And
It's like living on.
It's-
It's like living on Bainbridge Island.
Yeah, it's like Stepford up there. It's gorgeous. On the water, little walkable neighborhood.
We only live maybe 5 miles away, and I haven't been to Edmonds 10 years. I don't
Oh,
think.
you got to go.
Yeah, fine. It used to be part of my territory when I sold wine in 1980. It used to be part of my territory. I used
Call
to
you
sell.
Deadmans now.
I used to sell wine to Geraldine Brousseau of Brousseau's Bakery, who had a little wine corner. You know what she's famous for?
I don't.
She had a delicious cinnamon roll in her bakery. And somebody came in and said, would you mind making a version of that for us? And now we know it as Cinnabon.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
That's so
Came
cool.
from Brousseau's
Edmonds.
Bakery in Edmonds. Yeah. And I think she's made some cash.
I hope so.
I hope so, too. I hope she gets a little nickel every time they sell a Cinnabon. I don't know that. I haven't seen her in a while. Her most thing that she does now is she has a charitable event called The Trees or something like that of Vietnam, and it's about removing bombs, unexploded bombs
Oh,
and
wow.
things from
Landmines
areas
and stuff,
around
yeah.
Vietnam that were totally bombarded. Hot Stove Society chef Nico Caballero, who's also our technical producer today. He's going to talk to us about arepas. Caspian chef Omid Rustai is going to come and join us with his book called Global Flavors from an Iranian American Kitchen. You have a particular, because you grew up with an Iranian friend, like an Iranian American
I've
friend, and you have
happened
a
to have this like in all phases of my life. My best friend as a child was half Iranian, and my best friend as an adult is half Iranian. So I have stayed around some really good Persian food.
yes,
I'm very lucky.
and you love it, right?
I love it, yeah,
it's
for
like
sure.
it's right on your
I
list.
think I
of-
got a taste for it because, first and second grade, I was going over there all the time, and her mom was cooking beautiful Persian food. So.
And is your favorite still the kind of
the tadik, yeah.
Tadik.
the tadik, which is the rice saffron rice
And
that
he's got
sticks to the bottom of the pan?
Yep. And Omid has some beautiful recipes in there and pictures in
really?
his book. Yeah.
Good. Of course, we're going to wrap up the show with our Food for Thought Tasty Trivia, of which Taylor today is going to be taking our photographs as I win the prize.
She'll take a video of you like doing your goal lap around hot
exactly.
stove.
Okay, Loretta, what's your taste of the week? And it doesn't have to be the ribs that I made last night. Don't worry about it.
Okay, it's not. So, no. So we have been remodeling down in the market our restaurant Seatown and re-emerging with.
Oh, really? What's it going to be called?
Mr. Fish.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, fresh name, fresh look, freshened up menu. And it has me spending almost every day in the market again, which, whenever we open something, I feel like I'm there all the time. And then,
It turns out you are there all the
I
time.
am all the time. And then you kind of get back into your normal routine once it's open and you stop going every day and things like that. So we opened Half Shell last year. I was in the market every day for 5 months probably. And now I'm back in the market and I am back to my normal routine of the lentil soup for lunch at Turkish Delight at the very end of Pike Place Market, right next to Mike's Wine Shop at Pike and Western. And it is my favorite lunch, I think, that I could
Does
get.
it make you feel good? Like I always think of pho, like that's just as a breakfast or lunch for me. It just, when I used to drop you at school up at Seattle Academy, I used to run down and stop at Pho Bach down there at 12th and Jackson. And it just was a beautiful way to start my day. And it made me feel healthy.
Yeah, it
Does
feels
it give
good.
you that kind of sense of
It's
a
filling. They do the chicken on the rotating. So it's crispy and good. And sometimes I'll add chicken to my soup or a piece of pita. It just feels filling without being heavy, I guess. They're the nicest two women in the world that are running the front counter. It's a mother and daughter, and then the dad is cooking in the back a lot of times. And they're just wonderful. She makes, I think, the best baklava that I've ever had. She makes a pistachio baklava that I think is the best that you can get. So I don't know. I'm just so happy to have it back in my routine. And I need to, even when Mr. Fish is open and going, I want to make a point to.
I'm a bit
Keep
of
going.
a baklava nut. Maybe, I don't know if that's where you got it from,
I
but
love
I
baklava
am.
also.
And it's so sad, the baklava situation around town, because there's
know.
all these shawarma joints that have opened, and they all use frozen meat, and they put on the stick, and it revolves, and blah, blah, blah. It is what it is. But I can't resist the baklava, and it's always terrible.
Oh, yeah. No, you need to go
It's
down
always
and
terrible.
have
So
baklava at Turkish
just out of the
Delight.
oven, day one, to me, is the best
I got
baklava.
it on Monday, and it was still warm. And yeah,
Oh,
Wow.
the best.
perfect. What about you? What's your taste of the week? Is it your ribs last night?
It isn't my ribs last night, although they were delicious, especially the inside ones. But my taste of the week, unbeknownst to you, I've been working on a new fish and chip recipe for Mr. Fish, in case we don't stick with what we've been doing, which I like a lot. But my taste is that I've taken my dredge and I've just dusted my fish with it after it sits and dries a bit, dusted my fish, put it in my new batter, and then put it back in the dredge. And if you remember, you grew up with Kentucky Fried Chicken, because that's kind of like one of my fast food trashy things. The extra crispy always had that extra little.
Yeah.
It kind of gives it that little extra
that
flake on
almost
the
crackle.
outside,
Yeah.
that little crackle. And one of the things in my testing is I let it sit for 10 minutes, make sure it's still crisp, because it takes, by the time it gets out of the
Yeah.
kitchen, gets to your table, and by the time you finish all 3 pieces, you're 10 minutes in, right? So it stayed nice and crisp.
Oh, nice.
It was really crispy to begin with. And so I'm thinking.
I feel like they switched up the batter a little bit down at Mr. Fish recently, because I think it's the best that I've ever had it there
all right,
now,
good.
so.
I want to try it, see if it matches up.
All right. We'll have a taste off.
Because I don't think we've adjusted that recipe in 10 years.
I read this article and sent it to the team down there about adding olive oil to your batter and making the crust
fish
more
really expensive?
shattery.
Yeah,
Like it gives it, and I think they started doing it, and it's awesome.
it works, huh?
Yeah, it's really cool.
All right, when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about quick pantry dinners. I will tell you, fish and chips at home, not a
No.
quick,
No,
not a
not
quick
one.
dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah. On Cairo Radio, it's the Hot Stove Society Show, 97.3 FM. Don't you think putting a rack of ribs on the grill and letting it sit for 3 hours is a pretty simple dinner? My husband would say yes. Yeah. I mean, the worst thing you can do is possibly have a highball while you're waiting. What else are you going to do?
Have three
Or two.
three screaming children waiting for their dinner.
They were ready when you got there. Sorry, pal.
Some of us work 9 to 5s, you know.
No,
Five-
you said your kids were waiting for dinner. I said they were.
No, I know, but I'm saying if I work a 9 to 5, I can't put 3-hour ribs on.
Oh, I understand. Well, that's your problem. All right, we're back here in the kitchen on Cairo. It's the Hot Stove Society. Loretta, you have. We've already been arguing in the break about what's quick and what's not quick. I suggested earlier in the show that, to me, popping a low and slow something to smoke on my barbecue is pretty quick, right? Because you don't have to tend it very much. Just maybe you have a highball. Maybe you get a couple of little side dishes. Like last night I did the Chung Fung rice noodles, which were so perfectly crispy. Your son said, "Mom, why don't you make
That
these
is
like
not true.
this?"
He
Oh,
said,
did
I
too say
love
that.
these. And
I love
said,
these. And he said, "Why don't you make these like this? Because you have them at your house."
Yeah, and I make them exactly the same way because you taught me to make them.
You make them by hand?
And he only is trying them because we're at your house. He's on his best behavior.
Well, he ate them all.
I know.
I had to fight him for the last one.
I had to sit him down and say, now when I make these at home, are you going to eat them next time?
Well, probably not because they're not as crispy as
Oh my
mine.
God. I'm going to walk out.
So last night we had the crispy, soft rice noodles that I made crispy, right?
Yep.
And then very unusual for me because I knew that you were coming and that you may or may not be coming at the time. I bought 4 deli cups of different things: potato salad, noodles, slaw, a Lebanese slaw, which I thought was dynamite.
delicious, yeah.
Yeah. And what was the other one I bought? Oh, the tomato mozzarella, because I knew your kids eat
Caprese,
the little
yeah.
mozzarella
Salad.
balls. And the first thing your Athena did was take the cherry tomatoes, 4 of them in her hand, and then just squeeze her hand
Yeah.
down the front of her. Yeah.
Could have told you that would
So
happen.
quick pantry meals aren't just about quick.
It
They're
doesn't have
about
to be-
what do the kids, it doesn't do you any good to do a quick meal of, say, lentil soup
If they're not going to eat it.
if they're
yeah.
not going to eat it.
I'm standing firm on 3-hour rack of ribs not being quick. I think if you looked up the definition of quick, it would not count. But quick for me is 20 minutes, start to finish, on the table. But I think one of your points that you were making is a pantry meal doesn't necessarily have to be like canned dry goods, right? Like you can stock your fridge with some of those pre-made sides and treat that as your pantry that then you can just get out
And your freezer,
easily.
too.
And your freezer.
Have you
yeah.
ever done that? Have you ever gone to the deli section of a grocery store and bought like the side stuff? Because I haven't done it in 25 years.
I haven't in the regular. At PCC, there's a couple of favorites I have.
Yeah,
There's a
I have the
beet
same at
salad and there's
PCC.
a-
Okay, what are they? Tell us, because
One of-
PCC would love to hear this.
PCC makes a Thai beef,
Yep, I get that.
Thai marinated beef, and I will get that and make
Cold, is it, when you
Cold,
buy it?
yeah.
Uh-huh.
And I will buy that and make like Thai beef salad,
Uh-huh.
with it.
So you don't reheat it?
No.
Is it rare?
Cold, yeah.
It's still
Delicious,
Yeah, yeah.
marinated. It's sitting in like a lot of juice, so you kind of get your dressing for your salad with it. And then I just chop romaine and cucumber and flash some vermicelli noodles, and you're done.
Flash. Listen to her.
I have cooked in my life.
Okay, what else at PCC do you like?
I don't know. I
Because
really don't shop there much.
the deli I shopped in yesterday was the Town and Country Market up there
Yeah.
at Shoreline. Because I was up buying stuff. I was testing things for a catering that we're doing for 600 people.
I know.
Yeah.
So, but for me, like a quick pantry meal is some kind of starch. So it's often like I will just get home and put rice in the rice cooker and start it. And I don't even know necessarily like what I'm going to do next, but I know that that's going to take 23 minutes. And so that's how much time I give myself to kind of figure out the rest. The other day I made we had no fresh food in our house. So I had frozen tortellini. I had a jar of pesto. I had Prosser Meatball Project meatballs that I cut up and I made like a tortellini bake with a thing of frozen spinach, which is very unlike me to
Perfect.
use like frozen vegetables. But that was 15 minutes, because tortellini cooks in 2 minutes. and
Why
then
would
I
you
just
even
put it
have
right-
frozen spinach in your house? What was your
smoothies?
smoothies?
Yeah, I do use frozen spinach in a smoothie.
I
You know,
take-
your grandma used to take last night's salad and puree it in the morning for her smoothie.
I know. I don't like to think about that.
Yeah.
It was gross.
I always throw the spinach in the freezer right before it's going to go bad. Like if it's in my fridge,
Yeah.
then I throw it in the freezer, and then it breaks down really well too. And I
You
guess
know-
you could use that in a red sauce. Sure.
My suggestion to you is saute it in olive oil or butter and then freeze it
Yeah. But
without cooking. I mean, you have to, cooking it first makes a better product
okay.
when you try to reheat it.
Okay. That's a good point.
You're looking at me like you have no idea.
She's
what
like,
you're
no,
talking
I'm never
about."
doing
I don't
that.
really
Never
love
doing that.
cooked spinach on its own.
Well, what does it look like when it comes out of the freezer? It's cooked.
Right.
Isn't it all mushy and gross?
Well, I don't
when
like
it
warm
thaws?
spinach. I like spinach. I like it just regular, not
Okay,
cooked.
we're not talking to you anymore.
Unless it's in
I
a
love
lasagna or
spinach
something.
any
I
way
do
it
too.
comes.
Anywhere it comes,
Yeah.
yeah.
What else do I keep in my pantry? I always have a jar of tomato sauce. So tomato sauce pasta.
So this is your dry
Yeah.
pantry, by the
My
way.
dry pantry,
I think
yeah.
of them as different because my pantry is my freezer and my dry pantry. Yeah.
In my frozen pantry, meatballs. So I can pretty much on any given day do spaghetti and meatballs in my house. I always have stuff for spaghetti.
Cheap.
and
You know they're
meatballs.
gonna. That's cheap.
Why is that cheap?
Well, it's just because you know they're gonna love it. And blah blah blah. Let's make something.
Yeah, that's what I'm going for. Something that everybody will eat. What else do I keep? Trader Joe's weirdly makes these kefta kebabs that are passable, I would say. And I like the Vigo yellow rice, which is like a pre-seasoned rice. So
God.
you asked for quick pantry
Okay.
meals. This is what they
so
are.
let's drop the quick pantry meal because you're killing me right now.
So what I do a lot is fried rice. So if I have rice, I always mix, not for me, but eggs and just vegetables, whatever I have, and that comes together really quick, and it's good.
And it's good.
And
you
so it's
promise.
Well, I can't taste it anymore, but yeah, I always have to ask.
You know, even fried rice, Jackie and I argue about fried rice. She likes to take her fried rice and cook the heck out of it until it's crunchy, crispy.
Ooh,
And if you go to any place in Chinatown, there's not one that
soft.
does fried rice
Right.
crunchy, crispy. So I like a little, maybe somewhere in between. Maybe the bottom is crunchy, but the rest is still soft and fluffy. But I'm just saying, you can't overcook fried rice. Don't you agree?
yeah.
You know what I would do it with the pantry in your house right now?
What? Throw it away.
We we were at your house for supper for Ben's birthday,
Oh my God.
and he ordered Indian food. And some people have roasting pans in their house. You have roasting pans in your house. I took the extra rice and filled the roasting pan with
Yeah.
it. Yeah, there was
Extra
enough.
after we ate.
That's after seven
after
people had
8 people.
had dinner. So, and then you have like 11 different cups, like half pint cups of different.
We could do a whole thing on how Ben orders to go food.
Over
It
orders?
drives me bonkers. No,
Oh
he
my
orders.
God.
One, he over orders, but two, he orders 27 different things. Whereas, like, I would order, if I was feeding a crowd, I would just order 4 of the same thing so that everybody was
Yeah.
eating like the same meal. But he orders tiny amounts of 27 things.
Right. And so you
Tasting
get your
menu.
dinner plate and you have a tablespoon of this and a tablespoon of that and a tablespoon of that. It's pretty darn funny.
But that's how he loves
But
to
here's what I would say. Tell us what restaurant that he bought that
eat.
from.
Mother India.
Mother India. The kefta, had just mentioned
yeah.
the kefta. That night, that was by far the best dish that I had in that grouping of
Yeah.
food, in my opinion.
So what would you do with it now? I
The-
have leftover.
You don't have leftover kefta. You have leftover rice, right?
I have leftover kefta too.
Really? There was
Yeah,
a
what am
skewer
I
left
doing-
over?
What am I doing with it now?
Oh my God. I would make wedding ball soup out of it. I'd just take some chicken stock out of the freezer
Okay.
and make little chunks. So there's only one, if there's any left, there's only one skewer.
Okay.
There's a little bit of rice, chopped celery, chopped carrots. We have the wedding ball soup downstairs with lamb meatballs, but I would just use that little chunks of kefta as a meatball, just break it up and have a little orzo.
Little soup situation. Okay.
But you had rice that came with the kefta, so.
Yeah. We have so much rice in my house right
I
now.
know you
I don't know what
do.
to do with it. I need to make like a vat of rice pudding or something.
Ooh, but that's flavored rice already, right?
That's all right. Spiced rice pudding is
Oh.
delicious.
Yeah, I think it would be good
Okay.
to make into pudding.
The
But then I
best-
have a vat of rice pudding. I don't know what
I
to do
know.
with
The
that
best rice
either.
pudding I ever had was at Spice Market in Manhattan in the meatpacking district. John George von Richten's kind of Asian-influenced bistro, and it was the bomb. And he did little pearls of tropical fruits on top with the tiniest little scoop. So little pearls of kiwi and papaya and mango and cinnamon and star anise.
Wow.
And it was the bomb. Coconut milk was the custard. Really good.
All right, maybe I'll
All
try
right.
that.
Loretta's mad at me now because I cut off her pantry.
Trashed my pantry.
Well, that's what fathers are for, to give you a backbone. Chris DeFore is here from Gallagher's Where You Brew in Edmonds. He's part owner and operations manager. We're going to hear
Pause.
from him.
Nope. Pam's next.
Segment. Oh, that's hour 2. Did I go past the page?
Nico, can you make a note? Thank
Yep, I
you.
did. I went past the page. Pam's here. Oh, my God. Up next, Pamela Hinckley, Executive Director of the Pike Place Market Senior Center and Food Bank is here. And we're going to talk stone soup. Stone soup doesn't sound very appetizing.
It's
to me.
awesome.
On Cairo Radio, it's the happy it's the happy hour show here on Cairo 97.3 FM.
That's what you get for trashing me.
Would you ever eat from her pantry after hearing that?
I make good food.
You make delicious food. Oh, she learned from me already.
Don't speak a taste until the ingredients are revealed.
Are they going to hurt their teeth on their stone soup?
Probably. I'm going to talk more about the market.
Hey, Hinckley, heads up.
I wanted to bonk myself
Just to remind yourself. Did anyone ever hear the show when Pam was our producer? Wow.
I did. Good.
Pamela is Loretta's godmother and great godmother to all of her babies. Take your time. We got all day.
I have my own pouches.
Those aren't like urine bags or anything like that, are they?
They're adult pouches. Don't be mean to me. I'm vulnerable.
Really? Yeah. That's fantastic. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
And we can't taste them yet?
No,
Okay.
we're going to guess.
Hands off.
Oh.
We're going to guess what's in them.
I don't think they show up anyway, so.
Yeah, thank you. Who are
All the
you?
way up.
Hi, Nico.
All the way up, Nico.
Did you fire Cameron? No. Or Sean? Oh.
All the way to her
We have
face,
3
Nico.
people
Keep
that can do
going.
the show now.
Wow. Wow.
No,
Yeah.
Luxury.
Ooh.
That's better. That's the Pam we know and love right there.
Get all those allergies.
Oh, Spice Girls. What is that hot new shirt? Can I have a shirt for coming on the show?
Can't.
Oh, too expensive.
Ready?
Totally.
Right now, joining us on the guest mic instead of the producer chair is Pam Hinckley. You might recognize her voice from, what, a year and a half or so when you were producing this show?
Yep, about 2 years.
About 2 years. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Pam left us, sadly, to go save the world, happily, and she is now the executive director of the Pike Place Market Senior Center and Food Bank in, oddly enough, the Pike Place Market.
Amazing.
Amazing. So you got a big event coming up.
We do. Stone Soup. It's our springtime fundraiser. It's lunch in the Senior Center dining room. You eat like our members eat, and you get to meet the staff and hear stories of our impact and our work in the market.
Do you
But
tell the story of So and Soup?
Oh, we do.
Okay, good.
We do. We have a handsome moderator who will read the fable about how a traveler brings a community together to help ward off starvation, which God knows could be facing us with this troubling administration any day now. But I want to back up. and talk more about what's happening in the market and why it's important.
Okay.
About 3 years ago, the PDA Council, which is the Preservation and Development Authority, who is the landlords for the market, recognized that the balance sheet was getting tender.
For you or for the market itself?
For the whole market,
Okay.
the market themselves, and understood that some changes needed to be made in the revenue stream. So they get rent and percentages from some tenants, and there are some very big players in the market that provide generous funding to that balance sheet. But then there are so many small businesses, farmers that they also support, which are not revenue generators for the market except tiny way. So they undertook a study, a master plan. They hired 3 different consultants to come in and talk about what could we do to generate more revenue, and at the same time, it's a fragile structure. You know, it's over 110 years old.
So made out of wood sticks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And the building, we're in one of the subsidized low-income apartments. And for instance, in 2026, they've got to rip out the elevator for 4 months. And I've got a lot of people in strollers and wheelchairs in that building. So yesterday we had a big meeting, like, where are we going to put everybody when, you know, how are you going to get to your services? So this study was undertaken to say what could change the revenue balance and prepare us for the future. And it's all about tenant curation while being loyal to the historic charter that was written for the market. Because as you know from dealing with them over the years, the Market Historic Commission is very protective.
As they should be, absolutely.
As they should be.
Yeah.
So they're very careful. There's no chains allowed. It's supposed to be your first business location, and very strong emphasis on supporting the farmers and incubating small businesses, which is one that I want to celebrate today.
Okay.
In front of us, you have Rojo juices, developed by a beautiful family, raw, organic. And before I reveal the flavors, I'd like everybody to taste them, starting with the green one.
The colors are beautiful.
The colors are so vibrant.
So you've kind of skipped back. You've lost the thread of the fragile economic situation. Has it been figured out?
No, absolutely
Is there an
not.
upheaval of people that are worried about getting surcharged?
Nope.
Nope.
Right now, it's in a very amiable discussion period with big listening groups and talking opportunities, and the whole process is open to the public, which
Right.
is why I wanted to talk about
Okay.
it, because there are public forums and drop-in sessions on this master plan. But the element is also to make sure that the market appeals to locals, because we've lost a little bit of the attraction of shopping in the market, because it has some barriers.
Yeah. But that's been a concern for 40 years, 50 years.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yesterday, what the big seminar was, you know, because in the paper they've been talking about, do we close the street?
It makes me twisted.
No, we can't close
That's what
the
I say, but everyone
street.
wants to argue with me. It's part
Yeah.
of the energy of the market.
Yeah, dodging the cars.
Yeah.
But I also...
It's more like dodging the pedestrians.
But it's just so critical to the lifeblood of the businesses down there to be able to get their deliveries and have customers come pick up. So there's, I try to emulate U Village. They've done a beautiful job of, you know, they have parking monitoring, cars move, people move, but it's controlled, whereas in the market it isn't
Yeah.
now.
A free for all.
All right, so go down as a Seattle citizen, go down and exercise your community service and go to these meetings, and let's get it over the finish line. I mean, it only took how many years for the park to reopen, the Victor Steinbreck Park? But as soon as you started getting loud about it attention, started happening, and the fence came down of a perfectly usable park. Fence came down in what, 2 weeks, a month?
It was
something like that.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, there were other forces that were percolating,
I understand,
obviously.
but it's some of the same forces.
Yeah.
And one of the things I had said I had angered some people by calling them knuckleheads.
No.
Which you call me all the time, by the way.
Imagine that.
Anyway, what I had said was getting the fence down from that park and utilizing the park without the totem poles is not like stopping a McDonald's from going under the Pike Place Market clock.
Right.
There's two different situations here, right? So anyway,
Absolutely.
it happened.
Anyway.
We're thrilled about it. The park is now beautiful. You can stroll all the way to the waterfront. It's
To
spectacular.
the new market overlook, the most
Yeah.
beautiful addition to the city ever.
Yeah, it's spectacular. Let's go back to Stone Soup before we run out of
Okay.
time.
It's
know.
May 1st.
That last year we underwrote Stone Soup, if I'm not mistaken.
You were very generous contributors.
Yes, we were. And as a radio show, we'd like to do that again. Is that okay with you?
No.
Okay,
I
never mind.
can't
Never mind.
accept.
Okay, never mind then.
I have to, don't I?
Yeah.
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 Based on already, like in March, our numbers at both the food bank and the senior center were the highest ever in meals served and groceries
Yeah.
delivered. So,
Well, that's one of our feelings about the show is that we would like to do good for our community, as you know, as being a producer on the show. So we would love to underwrite your Stone Soup again for $5,000. Does that work?
Yay!
Yeah,
but
and
you
what
guys
is
can come and buy tickets. I'd like to see everyone in the audience
Yeah.
there.
It's $100
so I
and
can
it goes
show
to
off
a-
what the work we're doing.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
even if you can't make it, you can still donate.
Thank you, Becky.
Yeah.
Tell us what Stone Soup is. I mean, you already told us about this traveler.
But
who,
it's a lunch, right?
But it's a lunch.
The
Yeah,
event.
that's
It's
more what I meant. Tell us
Yeah,
about the lunch.
It's a lunch in the senior center dining room. So you get to see the facility, and the event is produced by the staff, which is so lovely. So there'll be the waiters and the presenters. And this year we're going to make it a little more conversational. We got some feedback last year that we talked too much and there wasn't time for questions. And yeah.
One of the
what
things
I like
I feel.
that. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say one of the things I feel is that I don't think a lot of people realize how much social services and low income housing is encompassed within the Pike Place Market. Like the
Absolutely
people,
true.
when you visit, you see this kind of
Flashy,
farm
shiny.
stand,
Yeah.
flashy, touristy look at it. But within that and on the outskirts of that is an incredible community centered around social services and protected low income housing. And I was reading, I mean, you guys served more than 58,000 free meals last year and distributed more than 81,000 bags of groceries through the food bank. Like that is so many people served in a place where I think it's not very visible. Like you
No.
you
The
don't
food
necessarily
bank's in a parking garage.
yeah, think of that
Well,
when
I
you're
don't think
walking
people-
through the market.
Yeah, people don't look at the market as a neighborhood, and it is its own neighborhood.
It was the strongest during the pandemic.
Yeah, it saved the
heartbeat
city. I
kept going.
told Mayor Harrell that. I feel like the market saved the city because
Yeah,
it gave us
it
a
certainly did.
foundation of a place. It was an outdoor market, thank goodness, and it's saved the city,
Yep.
in my opinion.
And the to your point, Loretta, we had a big group of 50 fifth graders from Magnolia last week,
Oh, nice.
Oh, that's
accompanied
great.
by parents, to tour the social services, and every single one of the parents said, "I had no idea
Yeah.
that there was this human service network here."
Yeah.
So
That's like tucked down different alleys and different part. You know, you have to look past the
flowers.
flowers. Yeah. Okay,
Well,
but
yeah.
sorry.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, there's 100 restaurants in that little 3-square block area. That is, it's not even square blocks, I want to say. 3-block area that are keeping the energy alive down there. There's child care, there's senior services, food banks, low-income housing, senior housing, high-income housing. It is a real
the mix
neighborhood.
is spectacular.
Yeah, it really is. You just don't see it very often.
I want to know at the very end, will you reveal these flavors?
Yes.
Okay.
So,
just one more thing.
yes,
the luncheon is May 1st from 11:30 to 1 p.m., which is a problem because I already told people I know Pamela keeps it to a strict hour, and here it is right here. It's an hour and a half.
Calling you
Tickets
a liar.
are $100, and where do you get them?
on the website, Pike Market Senior Center and Food Bank.
Okay, now what's in our glass?
Fred Rojo, one of the businesses, incubator businesses, that is really spectacular. First one, the green one. Anybody want to take a guess? Did
Pear?
you taste it yet? What the main vegetable is in it?
Celery.
Yes. What a palate. Where'd she learn that? It's called Low, and it's celery, fennel, spinach, and balanced with a little apple.
Beautiful.
And have you
See,
gotten
to
to
me,
the...
it's got too much apple.
a
little sweet for me.
Too sweet.
Not vegetal enough.
Yeah.
Carrot.
It's
The next
delicious. I'm not saying that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen to her. Her well-developed palate just identified the first ingredient in the orange one, Glow.
Carrot.
Carrot. And balanced with what?
I don't know.
Orange for sure.
Orange.
Orange.
Becky's got it. And then it's finished with our beloved turmeric.
Yeah. Our beloved.
Our
I have a
beloved
turmeric
turmeric.
tea in front of me, in case you were wondering.
Nice.
All right, Pam, you're going to stay for the next segment. We're going to taste tortilla chips, and I'm going to reveal Pamela's guilty secret. When we come back on Cairo
Joyce-
Radio, it's the Hot Stove Society Show, 97.3 FM. You know
all right.
Pamela's guilty secret?
I thought maybe you could see traces of the flaming hot Cheetos I was eating yesterday,
Oh, that just might have
which
something-
unfortunately we got from Food Lifeline.
You got flaming hot Cheetos from Food Lifeline.
Well, they just get what they're given.
I know.
Nice catch.
The best one is the peach and pineapple. I know.
Hate beets.
Oh no, you inherited that.
Yeah.
Do you guys think I taught Annie how to make a good gravy? It's pretty tasty, that mushroom gravy.
What a pretty breakfast. Wow.
Thank you.
This we definitely have to try before.
Just crunching your chips into the mic.
Let me see Juanita's. He must have gotten sued or something.
Well, they're in Hood River, Oregon.
Juanita's tortilla chips are sold as Juantonios outside of the Pacific Northwest due to a trademark dispute. A California-based company, Juanita's Foods, which makes and distributes canned Mexican food products, filed a lawsuit against the family, claiming they were violating the agreement only on products sold in the Pacific Northwest. Alaska, Idaho, Montana, Nevada, Oregon, Washington, and Wyoming. Did you buy these in California?
Nope. Met Market.
Funny, because they're allowed to use Juanitas in
Well,
Washington.
seems cheaper to just go with one branding.
Juantonios are available in California, Texas, Utah, Arizona, and Hawaii, and Juanitas are available in Oregon, Washington, Nevada, Alaska, Wyoming, Montana, and Idaho. But I think it sounds like they're phasing out Juanitas as the name. And it's not really the patriarchy because the founders' names are Juana and Antonio, which is why it's Juantonios.
Wow.
Something like a
Champagne.
little tortilla chip with your crepe.
It's good to have a little crunch. Should I go ahead?
We don't want to hear you try them on the radio.
like all of them. I think I just like tortilla chips. Yep.
You don't have my favorite brand here.
What's your favorite?
I don't know the name of it. I can pick out the bag, but
The clear bag?
they have a lime flavor and they have a regular flavor. And they have a, yeah. We use those when we're demoing our fish taco rub because they're sturdy. You put a little salsa, a little guac on a piece of the griddled fish, and you can do a taste that way.
Very fancy.
So you have a ham and cheese crepe with a fried egg, and I asked them to make the edges nice and crispy with bacon, fat, and butter. Can't stand the floppy old egg. And then
Executed perfectly.
there is a mushroom gravy on top for smother. I call a gravy that doesn't have a roux in it a smother. It's typically cream thickened. And it has a little bit of our mushroom rub in it because that's got porcini powder in it, so it just enhances the mushroom flavor. So I use that same mushroom rub in all my gravies, all gravies where it can make a difference, like my Thanksgiving gravy, things like that, dark gravies, because it just adds an umami quality to it that you couldn't really pick out necessarily, except for Loretta, who's got the finest palate in the room.
Exactly.
It's just because I hate celery.
I love celery. How can you hate celery and like anise? They're
I don't
similar.
know. I just don't.
Anise and celery?
Oh.
Very different in my book. I
I
love
said they're similar but
Yeah.
different.
Yeah. I love celery. And I love anise.
I like the word fennel better.
So good.
Yeah, it's more.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Less graphic.
It was just like, I think it's more my style of that fancy. Maybe it's just because I love Italian food, but
All right.
it's like fancy without being like over the top. You know, it felt very special occasion. Service
Welcome
was
back to the Hot Stove Society show on Cairo. Loretta and her godmother having a side conversation if anybody would like to listen in.
How to have a fancy but comfortable fine dining experience.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh.
Oh,
recapping
really?
my Cafe Juanita dinner.
Ah,
Yeah, it was lovely.
and you loved it.
I did love it. Yeah.
And you would send, so give us a quick recap of Cafe Juanita before we get into these trashy old chips.
They kind of go together.
It was just awesome. It's so special occasion. I mean, for me, that price point is kind of like only a special occasion restaurant. But I think if you're looking for a canless alternative or just something different from that, and you want that same type of like very upscale experience, it's awesome. I would say to me, it feels more like comfortable, super, super friendly service,
Yeah.
very simple but delicious food. I'm sure they would say it's not simple, but you know, everything is just very careful and well executed without being stuffy. And I thought, yeah, the service was phenomenal. The wines were delicious. Their wine list is like an Italian wine lover's dream. I mean,
yes, exactly.
4 pages of Northern Italian reds, and it was awesome. So
Ah.
it was just lovely.
Good. I'm glad you enjoyed it. All right, now can we get back to the show?
Jeez Louise. Pam, let's go. He can do the show by himself.
All right, Loretta, you love tortilla chips.
I do love tortilla
Probably
chips.
more than I do.
Okay.
And I wouldn't put the word love. I would eat a potato chip in a heartbeat over a tortilla chip. So where do they stand in the icon in your world?
Well, cheddar and sour cream potato chips are #1.
Okay.
But a good tortilla chip is.
I just
is
am
a-
not, for some reason, Pamela, how about you?
I've moved solely to corn. I don't buy potato chips anymore.
Really?
Yeah, I'm a corn chip person.
What's the
I-
reasoning? Just
I
because
love
you like
the
it better.
texture.
You like the texture better.
Yeah.
Pamela, by the way, if you weren't on the last segment, is the executive director of the Pike Place Market Senior Center and Food Bank. Becky, how about you? Where do tortilla chips
I
rate
love
in
tortilla
your snack
chips.
food?
And I love potato chips. I can't keep them in my house because I can't be trusted. So I buy them for special occasions.
You want to know something secret about our friend Pamela?
Yes, I do.
Yes, you do.
I can't wait to hear what this is going
Miss
to be.
Healthy Vegetable Eater has a.
I know. She was our CVO at our company to get more vegetables on our plates.
Uh-huh.
It worked.
And yet.
And it worked.
Yeah.
And yet, she's a Cheeto freak.
Cheetos.
She loves
In
Cheetos.
fact, I do.
In
Which
fact-
is
So you're-
very
you're-
satisfying.
Awesome.
But everything in moderation.
Yeah, of course.
Including moderation,
Yep.
Julia Childs
The
said.
telltale stain on your finger.
That's what you were alluding to. I couldn't figure it out now.
What
I
did-
know.
yeah.
I know.
And are you a flaming hot girl, or are you
No.
just a regular Cheeto?
I was telling
Cheetos
Loretta, we had them yesterday. We got them with our Food Lifeline delivery. How random.
Uh-huh.
But we were actually eating delicious Beecher's lentil soup. And I put some of the flaming,
Flaming Hot
Cheetos.
Cheetos.
Oh, Kurt would be so happy to hear that.
Ah, that's great. That's awesome.
You know, one of the things he does
It
in
was
his
miraculous.
schoolwork, you know, he's got a foundation that sends people into schoolroom classes, and he talks
Pure food.
specifically about how awful Cheetos are for you. So he'll be glad to hear that you're putting them in his
It
soup.
goes so well with
Okay,
the
Loretta, what did you think about these chips, since you're the expert?
You know, I like a tortilla chip, so I like most of them. There were two that I preferred over the rest. Number one being the Wontonio's / Juanitas is probably my number one. And my number two would be the Field Day, which I think is a Whole Foods. Is Field Day a Whole Foods brand?
Yeah,
I got that at Net Market.
Oh, okay.
You're
so
shaking
not,
your head
so,
yet? No.
But they have a different texture than the rest, which I like. They're like grainier and they're just very different chips. Juanitas, Wontonios feel the most like greasy in a way to me. Like they
Which is
have
a good
the most
thing, right?
oil. Yeah, which I think is what I like about
Yeah.
them. But I do like the texture of the Field Day ones.
And
as
can I
well.
ask you one more question to clarify?
Yes.
Is a tortilla chip to you a snack in itself, or does it have to have salsa or guac or something on it when you eat it?
I'm mostly use them as a vehicle for dip person.
Because that's the only way I use
Yeah.
them. Yeah, I'm not a
What about
plain
nachos?
I don't love American nachos. I like a cheese sauce.
Like a
we
queso.
made a masa thickened cheese sauce when we had our Mexican restaurant that stays soft. What I
Okay.
hate is when people put tortilla chips on a plate, sprinkled cheddar over top, put them in the oven, melt it for a minute. They come out, and a minute later, they're solid as a rock again.
Those are called
so
struggle nachos.
I hate those. Those are called what?
Struggle nachos.
Oh, my God, they're the worst.
I'm glad they've earned a name.
Yeah.
Pamela, how about you?
Number one was Wontonio's for me because it's the classic flavor profile with the oil, salt, and still good and corny. The Field Day felt a little empty to me, and I was tricked by the Late July because I get not their dipper, but their regular tortilla chip, and it's so much cornier and more flavorful.
Yeah, I felt like this
So
this
that-
late July one had no flavor.
Yeah, it was terrible, and I thought that with the Tostinos,
Tostitos.
Tostinos. One-
those two. So I would take the Set Day as my
Siete.
yeah.
And are they
Siete.
a chip for you, or are they a vehicle?
chip straight
Really?
chip,
Straight up chip.
straight up chip?
My
Man,
guilty
you're
pleasure
harsh.
is I love the lime flavored
Oh,
tortilla
yeah.
chips.
Yeah, if I was
Yeah.
I
gonna-
love that
yeah.
like citric acidy powder that they put on.
Yeah, I agree with you there.
I
Becky?
think the Siete
Well-
lime ones are
Really good.
I feel.
Well, I put
I
them
like
Okay,
the
I'm getting
chicas,
those
which
today.
is not in our
No,
tasting.
that's not. Carol.
Yeah.
That's what Carol said was her favorite too. And you know, I put them in order of sodium, so they start at 80 milligrams just so we didn't get so blasted out
80 milligrams per
Oh.
chip.
per per I think 1 ounce serving, and it was all the same. So I think it varied in that. And-
Because I think that's an important distinction because salt will make you change your mind on a lot of things.
exactly.
Yeah,
So I wanted to start from
absolutely.
light to more. So we started with Field Day, Late July, Tostitos, Wantonios and Siete. And I found the field day kind of, I didn't like the taste of the oil. It tasted a little off to me. So I didn't love that one. Late July, I thought this is so interesting. I thought it had a corny flavor to it. And then my favorite was the Tostitos. No, my favorite was Wantonios. And I think the key elements, what I love about the Wantonios is that the chip is it's textured. It's not just one note. So it just feels kind of flaky and delicious.
And are you a chip eater or is it a vehicle?
All of the above. So I would dip it in guacamole or salsa. So I think that the dipability is also something that's important. It
100%
doesn't fall,
for me,
you know, that you just get the top of it and the rest is in
Yeah.
there. So
I do think it's interesting, like with the Siete trips, because Siete Brands is really marketed as like a healthy kind of brand.
So it's
And
really
I-
the highest
And
sodium
I'm not saying it's
one?
not, but the sodium in those chips is remarkably higher than the others, which I find interesting.
So is it on 1 ounce, you said?
Yep, 1
So
ounce
on
is
1
once-
ounce of chips, it goes from Field Day at 80 grams or 80
Milligrams.
milligrams of sodium to Siete at 240. So three
Whoa.
times.
And I always buy
amount.
the Siete because it's
I
avocado
didn't notice
oil.
it when I was tasting it. Did
Yeah.
you?
No, but I
Doesn't
knew.
taste
No.
particularly more salty to me, but
Right.
it's interesting.
It
that
is. And I buy it because I think the olive
they're
oil is
cooked in
healthier for
avocado.
you,
Yeah,
but
avocado oil.
avocado, but the sodium just kind of takes that factor away.
Interesting. Well, for me, I am only a corn chip eater when I either make them at home, and it's so easy to do. People forget how simple it is. You simply take a pack of tortillas from the grocery store, corn tortillas, cut them in little wedges. On a regular 6-inch tortilla, I get at least 12 wedges, or 6 wedges times 12 tortillas. And so you have a nice little thing. And then the key is you deep fry them in your oil. You put them in a metal bowl or something without going on to paper towel,
Okay.
right? You know, one of the things we all love about Wantonios or the old Juanitas
Lots of oil.
is that they're greasy and that grease holds the salt. Same thing at home.
Right.
When you're making homemade tortilla chips, don't get all that grease off and then try to salt them, right? You want to salt them with the grease on. And if you don't want the grease, don't eat tortilla chips.
Right.
Just move on to like, I don't know,
A baked
hominy.
kale.
Yeah. Baked kale. There you go.
Kale chip.
Kale chip.
But to me, they're only a vehicle for guac or for salsa.
I love using them on top of chili or something and using them as a crunch on top of a taco salad.
You make taco salad?
I do.
Wow.
I can't
I
picture
love
that.
a good trashy taco salad.
I
With
love
iceberg
Chicken
lettuce.
tortilla
With
soup
iceberg
is
lettuce.
my favorite soup of all time.
Chicken tortilla?
Chicken tortilla, yeah.
I think it's the number one selling soup, say at Costco or
Oh,
like
really? I
as far
love
as
to put like the
that
fresh.
and broccoli cheddar. Now there's a soup where they have taken what it should be a healthy soup, broccoli soup, and added just mounds of cheddar cheese to it, and it's the
delicious.
number one selling soup. Yeah. Pamela, thank you so much for joining us.
Yay.
Once again, if you want to go see Pam at Stone Soup Luncheon at the Pike Place Market Senior Center, Becky, tell us where to find
Thursday,
the ticket.
May 1st, 11:30 to 1. Tickets are $100 and just look on the website at Pike Market Senior Center and Food Bank.
If it's anything like when I spent my time at Food Lifeline, $1 would buy 14 pounds of food.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. But I'm just saying $1 goes a long ways.
Sure does.
When you're
a
getting
lot
food.
further with a food bank than it does in your grocery store.
Yeah.
That's
Yes.
for sure.
Yeah, exactly. So help out a bit. It's a very fun way to reacquaint yourself with what the Pike Place Market actually is. It's not just a tourist thing, right?
And stop and get a Rojo juice.
Yes.
On the way.
All right. There's our chip throwdown. Chris DeFore is here from Gallagher's, Where You Brew in Edmonds. We'll learn out how to make your own beer on Cairo Radio. It's the Hot Stove Society Show, 97.3 FM.
Really
I'm
interesting.
curious if there's a mistake.
In 1 ounce of chips, yeah.
Nice breakfast, Annie. Thank you. In case you guys didn't think I was ever nice to her, there you go, right there. That's it for the day.
Coming in.
Bring that out of people.
You are finding your footing with these knuckleheads.
Why did you argue about that? Did you stroll up here in the sunshine, Pamela?
No, I'm parked right behind. I'm gonna get a walk in today for sure.
Okay.
It's time for beer. I'm glad we're doing the beer after the meal. I cut it tired. Good job.
You did all the lifestyle stuff. What? Yeah. Yep. That's funny. We're on the same stuff. All right, we got to get going here. What was your favorite tortilla chip? Juanitos? Juantonios? I know. You just have to get right up on that mic.
Microphone.
Oop, not on
Your
yet.
microphone. Sure. Perfect. Yeah, I think so.
You got to
Check,
get right
check.
up on it.
Check.
That's better.
I
Check
heard you on a
the
podcast. You
microphone.
were right there. You were right.
Yeah. I got a pretty good voice. I can talk.
Well, we're going to find out, Chris.
Yes. No worries.
Welcome back. Hot Stove Society time on Cairo. Everyone's just getting finished with their tortilla chip challenge. And Becky, I don't think we announced the winner. It was Juanitos, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wontonios.
Wontonios.
Juanitas.
It used to be Juanitas. Now,
Okay.
Now Wontonios.
Good thing Christopher has showed up here at the guest mic, so we don't have to discuss tortilla chips anymore. He is the part owner and operations manager and head brewer at Gallagher's, where you brew in Edmonds, Washington.
Yes. Thank
Welcome,
you.
Chris.
Honored. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Tell us about your background, and then we'll get into what your business actually does.
Yeah. So I moved to Washington about 18 years ago from Atlanta, Georgia. Was blown away by the craft beer industry.
Isn't it amazing?
It was awesome.
Pamela, our last guest, started a Red Hook Brewery.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
Awesome. Great place, too. And basically, I wanted to get right into it. I used to work kitchens back home in Atlanta, pizza places, and I was tired of kitchens. It was kind of a weird little spot there in my life as well. I did a tour at the Red Hook Brewery back when they used to do that, the big place out in
Yeah,
Redmond.
she did.
And I remember having my enlightenment of seeing, we did the tour, and they were doing the production of it all. And I was like, wow, these guys get paid to make beer. Not really knowing what I was looking at, but it became a quest for me to do that. And I told my then girlfriend, now wife, I'm going to be a brewer. I remember she was kind of like, wow, you really liked that tour. And I quickly got involved with being obsessed with brewing beer and cooking, because cooking's always like in the DNA of me. And I tried everywhere to get a brewery job. Luckily, I ran into a place called Gallagher's Where You Brew. Back when you look for your job on like Craigslist. And I was working with UPS at the time. It was okay gig, but not really me. And I remember being turned down by a lot of breweries because I didn't have the brewing experience. They always start you at a cellar kind of job or whatever, or put you in the kitchen. And I remember telling my coworker at the time, I'm going to lie until I get this job, and they figure it out. Luckily, I didn't have to really do much. They taught me how to brew. Not much lying. They saw right through it. So, and then it just kind of took off from there. And then I never left. And if you don't leave your job sometimes, you get really lucky and you have the opportunity to slowly take over.
And become part owner, it sounds like.
Yeah, became part owner. Dream come true. So.
You have seen the craft brew business in this town go through enormous growth.
Absolutely.
And now starting to quiet down a bit, like all alcohol is quieting down a little bit right now. So what's been the high and the lowest part for you?
Oh, when we first started, I mean, you couldn't keep up with the amounts of beers that were going on. Brewers were always challenging what could be done, what couldn't be done. Hazy beers, sour beers, and that's an exciting thing to really watch. Everybody wanted to make beer. Everybody was drinking beer, and that was good. The lows, now there's so much, which is great for a consumer, but sometimes when Gallagher's was the only really brewery in Edmonds, and there was a couple bars. Now there's bars everywhere, and now all those bars are carrying everybody's beer, which is great, but at the same time, it's competitive.
Yeah,
basically.
it's very competitive.
And it will...
And you have to raise your hand and say, hello, remember,
you have to be loud.
3 blocks away from you.
And you have to be really good to beat competition. If you're mediocre, TikTok, you got to really kind of be ahead of the game for that.
So what is it that you're doing that's so unique about the You Brew part?
Yeah, what's awesome what we do is we teach people how to brew beer.
So you're part of the problem for yourself.
Absolutely I am. Well, so and it's a brewer's kitchen. What I also like, when people come in to brew, they're also challenging us as brewers. They're like, oh, I want to try to do this. I want to try this. And every once in a while, they get a real ringer and are like, wow, I've never thought of that before. Let's try it and see how we can do it. And then I can even use the brewers when they're trying it. I'm learning from them as well. I mean, they're paying for it even.
Sure.
So it's pretty fun. And then sharing the knowledge of what you do know, passing along on, if you're going to do that, maybe you should try this technique. I found this better than others. So,
so can anybody come do it, or do
anybody.
you have to have no
we're all
necessary?
ages too. Okay. Some people there taught me how to brew.
Okay.
And then most of the time I'm teaching them how to brew, but it's a family-friendly event. Since there's no alcohol, kids can brew, and I think cooking with your kids is one of the best things you can do. Your family, it's a social place, community brew house.
I taught Loretta how to grow pot, so I understand. Just kidding. Just a joke.
Sure.
So you brew root beer? Is that
we do root beer as well, which is popular. Again, being from Atlanta, the trick is to use a lot of sugar. That tends to make it really well. We use pure cane sugar. And we have taps there so people can also consume what they're trying out as well.
And then you bottle it for them at the end of the day?
No, we have them do all the work. It's
they
quite
do
a hustle. Yeah, you brew all the things. We do all the unfun parts, and that's cleaning it up and guaranteeing fermentation goes well. They'll brew, which takes about 2.5 hours, and then they come back 2.5 to 3 weeks later. We have bottling stations where they bottle all their beer up, and then they take it home.
How much does that make? How much does one trip make? Like 24 bottles, 30?
Oh no, you're doing 13-gallon batches or 6.5-gallon
Oh,
batches. So it's 6 cases or 3 cases.
I see.
Make it worth your while.
Yeah.
We don't charge per person, so bring your family, bring your friends, or
So you
don't
just
bring
charge
anybody.
per either 13 or 6.5
Right.
kind of.
Loretta,
Yeah.
this would be a great
Batch.
place for your 20-month-old twins, I think. It'll
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they
Keep
love
it
it.
Wreak
busy.
havoc.
Oh,
now
that's
you're
fine.
the beer drinker in our household.
Yeah.
You love beer. If you were to go up there, what would be the first
I
place
mean,
you would
I
start?
love beer in like a very amateur way, and being the beer drinker in our family is like the lowest possible bar because you and mom just don't drink beer.
Right.
So, I mean, I like a light,
Mm-hmm.
light, crisp, refreshing. When I'm reaching for a beer, it's normally because something about wine is sounding like too heavy
Yeah.
to me at the
Yeah.
time, or it's really sunny out. I like a lower ABV typically, so that it's something that I can like sit on my deck and have
Yeah.
2 of, and not, you know,
Right.
I can't do like the heavier IPAs where I can have one beer and be like woozy, you know.
Chris, where
Yeah.
would you send? Where would you take Loretta? She's coming in. She just told you she likes light, crispy,
Yeah.
low alcohol by volume. How would you get her started?
I point you towards Pilsners. That's
Okay.
always a good starter. I did bring a blonde today. Blondes are really nice. Oddly enough, I just really got into sessional beers. I
What's
like to
that?
drink beer. Sessional tends to be less than 4%. And so they're very light. It's no longer like how high can we get the alcohol anymore.
was
at least
for a
in
while.
my part
Yeah.
of life.
Yeah.
And so doing light sessional ones are quite pleasant to me.
So when you're doing a Pilsner style, that's the type of yeast that you're going to tell her?
So that's true.
Or-
A traditional Pilsner is a lager, but we only do ales.
Okay.
The cool thing about an ale is you can make it lager-like, and they ferment faster, so it's ready faster.
Okay.
And they also ferment at warmer temperatures, so you can get your beer faster.
What's the
by doing
difference between
ales.
a lager and an ale?
That's a great question. There are 2 types of beers, lagers and ales.
Okay.
Ales are top fermenting, and they ferment faster at warmer temperatures.
Okay.
Lagers are bottom fermenting, and they ferment at colder temperatures, but they take longer to ferment, which gives you that cleaner, crisper flavor.
Okay.
I like ales because I can give an ale to somebody who they think it's nice and light. Most people wouldn't know if it's an ale or a lager.
Okay.
Right.
Speed. You want to turn it over faster.
To me, it's like eating dinner. I have no interest. I love sipping on a glass of wine, but having a beer for me, I just feel full afterwards.
You do get full. We
You gotta
also
find
do
the right
wine
one
and
for
cider.
you. Yeah. Oh, you do wine and
We
cider
do wine
too?
and cider. Yeah, we ferment all
Really?
that stuff. Yep.
How about sake?
Not yet. No, I'm not distilling any yet. Across the street, which I heard you guys talk to not too long ago, Scratch.
Yes.
They were awesome.
She's great.
Yeah, we love Scratch.
Kim and
Yeah.
Good friends. Cool.
So would you attempt this?
Totally.
Totally.
I'm gonna get this for Ben. Don't listen to the show. But I feel like my husband would be super into this and something that we
Go
could
with
Is he a
some
beer
friends
drinker
and-
too?
together. Yeah, he's more of like he loves IPAs. He likes the hazy and the fresh
Yeah.
hop and all of that stuff. So I feel like he'd have fun kind of experimenting.
Yeah.
with
We do
it and
gift
stuff like
certificates.
that. You do?
Perfect,
Okay,
yeah.
perfect.
Plug.
Her cousin, my nephew Mike, is the GM for Old Stove Brewing and all of their
Delicious beer.
restaurants and places. And
Yeah.
I bet he would have loved
He would love this too. Yeah,
because they're making 3,500 gallon
They do
batches.
big batches.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're microbrewery. I'm like a Pekka brewery. Very small. Very small.
I love you, a bushel and a
Peck.
peck. You know what a peck means?
Little peck and kiss. Yeah.
Half a bushel.
half a
bushel and a
That's right,
peck.
bushel and a peck.
Yeah.
My wife would have known
what
that.
is
You know
your
that
Yeah,
already?
my wife is. Yeah.
Oh,
I
yeah.
felt
So
really
did my
bad at
mom. Yep.
failing my father-in-law here.
What's your favorite thing that you're brewing right now? Like, what are you most excited about that you're brewing right now?
I mean, doing a good IPA is pretty fun to me. I'm an IPA fan, and which is odd because when I moved here, I thought IPAs were too intense. I did not get it at all. And then one day after work, I get a 22 out of the cold room unmarked. I start drinking it. I'm like, oh, it's an IPA. I think halfway through it, I was like, oh my gosh, I think I like IPAs.
Oh my God, you crossed to
It
the
was
dark
a
side.
Krakatoa. I was like, oh, this is great. Sessionals.
okay.
They're fun. They're fun to do.
And what's the perfect size group? Because my husband loves beer, and it would be a fun thing to send a group of friends up.
It depends on the group, quite honestly. Some guys like to have their solo Dream Quest there, or people solo Dream Quest. That's fun. I love birthday groups. They're pretty hilarious to do. It's interesting watching that because we do team building events for work guys. Everybody plays a different role sometimes. So there's the watchers, and then there's the doers, and then there's the fill-in people. So the perfect, I couldn't say. I base it off of how much do you guys drink. You're going to do a batch of beer, and you can tell if it's a bunch of young college guys, you're going to want probably to do 2 batches.
So is your husband OCD? Because does he just want to focus?
No, he'd have a great time.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we accommodate those people. The cool thing about brewing craft beer, there's a lot of elbow room. There's the OCD people that get it to the gram, and I love that because that's perfect. And then there's the other people that are just kind of tossing and doing, grandma's cooking, where they
Experiment,
just, they just know.
whatever kind of thing. Okay.
So
That's awesome. It
I think
sounds
it'd be
so
really
fun.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot like the events here. I mean, Chris he loves to watch and hang out. And
I know. I tell
he'll
people,
cut some things
like I
if
have
he
a
wants.
class tonight here, tonight and tomorrow night. But I always tell people, if you don't want to cook, don't cook. There's a bar right there. Just
Yeah.
go.
enjoy.
Have
yeah.
a drink, watch
Because
other
not
people.
everyone's into it.
Right.
Like at a company party, it's
Right.
like you have to go, but not everyone's into the whole cooking.
Uh-huh.
thing, so.
But still enjoy the process.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you know what? They all like to have dinner afterwards.
Yes. It's the part.
Like the same
the
thing.
beer.
Everybody
It is
wants
good.
to drink their
Yeah.
beer when they're done.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Christopher of Gallagher's Where You Brew in Edmonds, thank you for joining us today.
thank you. Appreciate
And
it.
thanks for our tastes that you've brought.
Of course.
Not sure we got to talk about those, but
Yeah.
they're delicious from a
They are good.
non-beer person.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I mean,
Up next, arepas by hand. Is it arepas or arepas?
Arepas.
Arepas by hand with Chef Nico Caballero. He's on the technical board today. He's going to have to do double duty. On
Yes.
Cabaret Radio, it's the Hot Stove Society Show, 97.3 FM.
Will you tell us what we're having?
oh, yes. So the lighter one, the first one I brought out, the lighter one is Cut Your Grass Blonde. Not bitter. The other one that's similar in color is going to be the IPA. Use your nose. IPAs obviously have an amazing nose to it. The blonde comes out about 5% using Cascade hops and Fuggles, which are great Northwest hops. The darkest one is my stout, the bearded Cannonball. Obviously roasted barley, darker.
Is
grain.
that your nickname, the Bearded Cannonball?
Yeah, there's a
Ah, okay.
yes.
You don't like
And I've been
Cheetos
called
also,
worse.
do you? Yeah.
Did you just turn a little pink?
Yeah.
Crimson red?
This one has oak chips in it, so I'm kind of replicating that oak barrel with it, the stout. Higher alcohol too, 7.5. And the one that I think has the biggest nose, that Seattle Sun, appropriately named, hopefully for today. That's got the most amount of hops, and that's where you're getting your bitterness from. It clocks in at, I think, 5% as well. Northern Brewers, Simcoe, Chinook, Citra, which is one of my favorite hops.
Our farm's in the middle of a 300-acre Citra field, Citra hop farm. Yeah,
That smells amazing. I bet.
yeah, it does.
It's one of my favorite things. I go out to Yakima for
That's
the
where our
harvest a
farm
couple
is.
times.
Prosser.
Beautiful. Prosser, yeah.
All right, thank you, Chris.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
guys
Chris.
so much. I appreciate it.
That was great.
Thank you, guys.
She's pushy.
Just come around back.
All right. Taylor, make me look beautiful. All right.
How do you know how to magically make it go? How are you going to get it to magically go?
It's already
Oh, gotcha.
So you got a watch going? Okay.
Okay.
so we'll be
Caballero or Caballero?
Caballero.
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 Why didn't you tell me that before? I've been calling you Caballero.
It's okay. It's okay.
Because you're a gringo.
It's it's spelled the same either way.
Okay, Smarty, you do the introduction.
As
Double
opposed
L.
to your Latino background.
No, but a double L is a Y.
Yeah.
Saying.
Hey, You took the Spanish. I did not. A lot of good it did me.
I use it every day. Oh,
Do you know enough to talk to our team?
Yeah, I know enough to understand
awesome.
our team more than talk back, but I can understand what they're, if they have a question or something.
You want to?
No.
It's arepas.
Arepas, yeah.
Arepas.
You're calling me a rapist?
That's your monkey bridge? The donkey bridge?
The donkey bridge. We are delighted to have Nico Caballero in our studio today. He has been on the tech board all day and jumping over to the mic because he's also one of the chef instructors here at the Hot
Yes.
Stove Society. And he has a class coming up called arepas. And I said to Becky, I said, I don't even know what an arepas is. And so we're doing a class.
This is
and
why
if-
Nico's here.
This is why Nico's here because
Right.
I bet a lot of people don't know what
I
they
didn't
are.
know what it was either. I had to look it up.
Okay, so good.
guys
So
are
Nico,
lame. They're
welcome to the
so
first
delicious.
time as a guest
Thank
at
you.
the Hot Stove Society radio show. Hopefully not the last.
Yeah.
We'll see how you do.
No pressure.
Let's
Right.
start with what are arepas?
So arepas are in the same vein as any sort of corn cake. So anything like cachapas, choreadas, pupusas, anything like that. Those are all just like a corn cake with some sort of filling, and even like tortillas. They're all sort of branching out. And arepas are really popular. They originated in like Colombia, Venezuela. But that stuff all branches out. There's just variations all throughout that region
northern
in South
South
America.
America.
Yeah, so it's
Okay.
like there's going to be variations between that, and as you go through those different areas, there sorry, Tom's directions.
Well, I'm trying to get you to stay on the mic, so look
Yeah.
at me. Don't look at her.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um.
And
so-
Sean, you can fix that, Sean.
Yeah. What was I saying?
They're from all different regions.
Yeah,
Like, for
yeah.
example,
So there's all sorts of different variations in that, and there's some almost a feud between the Colombian side of the arepas and the Venezuelan. So it's like which is better. But the
Battle of
idea
the
is
arepas.
it's like, and even between just all of the Venezuelan ones, there's probably like 50 different variations on how everybody's going to do them a little bit different. So I don't like to pick sides with that. I think they've both got their merits, and I think that's kind of the beauty of it, is that you have that that cultural impact with each variation. It sort of tells a story. So I think that's kind of the beautiful thing about it, is that there are so many different ways to do it. So in class I'll be talking about those different variations, the different ways you can build them, whether it's like with a yellow corn, a white corn, cutting them open and filling them, or having them like pre-filled, and or like mixing like cheese into the dough itself.
Right.
Yeah.
Sounds delicious. So I'm familiar with pupusas mostly.
Yeah.
Because when I was in Mexico City, we were on the street corner. There's a little lady kind of sitting down on a 5-gallon bucket making pupusas, and I just assumed they were Mexican, but she was Salvadoran, I think.
Salvadorian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it was blue corn, and of course we bought one and ate it and loved it. That whole string of Central American countries down into South America probably has very identifiable variations.
Differences.
Yes,
Yeah.
and there's some like distinct patterns of variation, like in with the pupusas in El Salvador. Those are usually made with nixtamalized corn, so that it's sort of like a masa harina, where it's got it's been treated with a base,
lime,
whereas like lime, and then in with arepas they're just corn, so it's and nowadays it's a pre-cooked cornmeal, and then or corn flour. It's a little bit finer than like American cornmeal, and it's pre-cooked, so you can't really substitute it. And I talk about that.
Pre-cooked.
Yeah, I talk about that in class because when I was developing these recipes, I like to make it easy for people so they don't have to go out and buy like a whole separate corn flour. I tried a bunch of different ways to like toast the cornmeal, like raw cornmeal, steam it, try and get it to that level where it's not going to be so grainy. It'll be fluffy when you when you sear off the arepas at the end. You kind of can't, get that at home. The facilities that they use to like make the masarepa is what the corn flour is called. To get it pre-cooked, they have special vacuum chambers where they're like pre-cooking. It gets it super nice and fluffy and light, and you can't really replicate that easily at home. So it's kind of is one of those things that you just have to.
So
go
then
and
you're
buy.
just rehydrating when you make
Exactly.
make a dough out of it. You're
So-
just adding water. It's already cooked and.
Yeah, and if you do it with something like cornmeal, you're gonna have some graininess in there. It's gonna be it's not gonna be cooked all the way through. The nice thing about the masarepa is as soon as you start to get a nice golden sear on both sides, it's it can be taken off. It's already pre-cooked corn, so you can just take it to however dark you want to get that cake that you're making.
So what would be some variations on the fillings?
So variations on the fillings, most commonly, it's either like a breakfast thing. Like the most common one is just like
really?
cutting it open, filling it with butter and cheese. Like that's kind of the most basic. Then you can go ahead.
I can have that.
Yeah, that sounds good. I'll
Add
take that
in
right
like
now.
an egg. That's also pretty common. And then
Like a pre-cooked egg, like a hard-boiled egg or something.
just like a fried egg.
egg.
On
yeah.
top of it.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
or even just like
They cut
filling
it
it
in
because you
inside,
can
put
cut
it
it like a
inside.
pita
Oh,
pocket.
like a pocket.
Yeah,
Like an English muffin of sorts.
exactly. Yeah. So, but it's also super common for it to just be like a snack, like a street food on the go snack, and you can cut that open, fill it with like barbacoa beef, or in the class, in this case, I'm going to be doing a mushroom style barbacoa. So just trying to emulate some of that smoke. We're using smoked paprika and stuff. And the other really common filling is called a domino filling, which is named after the colors that are used. It's using black beans and white fresh cheese. So it's that black and white like a domino. So that's where the name came to be. And in mine, I also throw in some fresh sweet corn because I just like that like pop of sweetness in there as well.
So what's your background?
My background, my family is from Mexico, Italy, and Latvia mainly.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
big mix.
Because a lot of times, if you have a strong ethnic background, you're not willing to make those little substitutions or make it your own because there's traditions involved.
Right.
Whereas in this country, American chefs are blatantly, doing things that shouldn't be done to
Yeah.
ethnic foods. So I'm glad to feel that you can move around a little bit within that.
Yeah, and I think
cuisine.
it's good to talk about that stuff, like the origins of it, because it is a really historically accurate food. Like it hasn't changed much even through like colonization. So it's a really traditional food, and talking about okay, this is how it's originally done, but we can do things like step it up a little bit, add some butter into the dough, add different fats, and like how that changes things, and just sort of play around with it because there's so many places you can take it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So awesome. So in the class, you'll make the dough, couple fillings,
Yes.
sounds like, and then accoutrements.
Yeah, so we're going to be doing the two types of fillings, the domino and the barbacoa de hongo, which is the mushroom filling. And then, we'll also have some accoutrements from, we're going to make some sauces for it, a cilantro salsa, which is going to be not like a chunky salsa, but just a very smooth avocado cilantro sauce, and then classic pico de gallo to go with them.
Huh.
Yeah,
Sounds
we're also
awesome.
going to have a couple other things just as hors d'oeuvres, which is also going to be just stuff from around the region. We got pão de queijo, which is from Brazil.
Oh, that's
Which-
that cheese bread?
The
Yeah. Are they
Brazilian
balls,
cheese
kinda?
puffs. Yeah,
Yeah.
those are super
So
good.
good.
They look so good. I've seen videos of them online. They
They're
look so
so
good and
good.
trashy.
Yeah, you can eat so many of those.
Yeah.
And then some patacones, which are also from Venezuela, Colombia, which is kind of like you'd have a smashed potato where you cook the potato, smash and fry it. It's the same idea, but with plantains. So cut those up, smash them, give them a pan fry or a deep fry, and you get this nice crispy
Do your
plantain.
plantains for that have to be ripe, or can you use green plantains?
Green plantains are traditionally
Okay.
what's used, yeah.
We
Yeah,
make
yeah.
the best plantain chips here I've ever
I know,
had.
they're really good.
They're really
Yeah,
good. And the trick is you don't peel them.
Oh,
You put them on a slicer, cut them really thin, but leave the peel on,
Yeah,
and they're the bomb.
oh,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
So if
May
you-
3rd, 10 to 1, hotstovesociety.com. Come learn how to
Yeah.
make arepas with you.
Yeah, we'll send you home with some sauce and a bunch of arepas.
And new skills.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
they're great for the freezer too. Like one of the ways I like to make them is I will pre-stuff them because you can, make them plain, cut them open, and fill them. But if I know I'm gonna want to make some for the freezer, I'll pre-stuff them, sear them off, and then you can just keep those and take them out, put them in the toaster or whatever, and it's just a on-the-go
That's
meal.
right up my alley
Yeah.
right
That's
there.
what we
Perfect.
do.
Yeah. I love that little quick snap.
Yeah,
Yeah, Loretta and I were talking about pantries
gonna say
earlier.
for
That would
Loretta's
be in my
pantry.
pantry.
right.
Exactly.
You can make them for my pantry too.
Great. I already made meatballs for your pantry. I guess we made meatballs.
Thank you, Nico.
Yeah, thank
Yeah,
you guys.
thanks,
It's a
Nico.
pleasure being here.
That's the kind of class that I think would be super fun as the owner of the school to kind of come and watch.
Yeah.
Remember what I haven't seen Nico present
Right.
before?
Yeah. No
but
pressure,
I also
Nico.
haven't eaten those, so I want to. And now you can buy pupusas at Costco.
Oh yeah,
They've
yeah.
crossed over the lexicon from Salvadorian cuisine to. My favorite place to get them is La Cabana up on 105th, I want to say, between 99 and I-5 on 105th. La Cabana. Cute little restaurant. Feels very authentic, even though I've never been to those areas. Well, it does. Omid Rustai is here. He's a Caspian chef. He's got a new book called Bitter and Sweet, Global Flavors from an Iranian American Kitchen. On Cairo Radio, it's the Hot Stove Society Show, 97.3 FM.
Great job, Nico. All right.
You have sat through the whole show. Good for you.
I invited him to breakfast. You want to see the whole thing.
You want to take a seat down there?
Oh.
Bring the mic to you.
You want to be like within an inch.
Feels like it's going down my throat,
Yeah,
but
within an inch.
I think I'll just scoot over. There we are. I did. I bike everywhere. Well, you have to invest in your bike.
Back there.
And don't wait for a sunny day to start biking. You will never start.
True.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hi, Tom. Good to see you again.
You too.
Thank you.
Rostahi.
Rustai.
Rustai.
There you go.
I'll leave that for you.
Is that
Come
part
on, it's
part
not
of
that difficult.
No, it's not. But is that part of your Caspian chef bit? Or is that just kind of like chef in the hat? You've got to.
Oh, I wish. No, that's just my last name.
No.
Oh,
Just
the
by calling
Caspian
yourself
chef.
Caspian chef, I like it. Just kind of
It's
education.
a reference to the region where my parents are from, the Caspian Sea, and I have just such utter fond memories of
Yeah.
the region as a kid growing up. Oh,
Sorry.
Hold this for the radio.
And talk really close into here.
Let's practice a little bit. Let's get right up like this.
how was
Let's
this
get
sounding?
Like this. What sounds better?
This,
Right up like this. The voice.
this
of
is
God.
sounding okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Stay right there and don't look at her.
I won't.
Okay.
Can I look at you?
I don't know why you'd rather. I don't know why you'd rather look at her than me.
I think
Anyway.
it's also looking back at the audience or anything. Just talking to the mic is the key.
Right. Excellent.
We're excited to have Omid Rustai is here. He's the Caspian chef. A new book called Bitter and Sweet: Global Flavors from an Iranian American Kitchen. He rode his bike here today. Oh my God, you're crazy, man.
Hi, Tom.
Hi. Tell us about you and how you got here. And my God, I looked up the Caspian Sea today because, I'm not allowed to buy caviar from the Caspian Sea because
Yes.
it's poached or whatever it is, according to the New York Times. Whatever. So that's what I think about when I think about the Caspian Sea is caviar. Big old sturgeons, belugas, and blah, blah, blah. Point being, it's a big place.
It really is a
Holy
big place.
smokes, the largest inland sea in the world by
Yes.
far.
Yes. And the
5
best,
times the size of Lake Superior.
it is big.
That's big.
It's not. We're not kidding. It
Yeah.
really is big. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So I'm Omid. I have been in the food business in different contexts. First as a personal chef, then I started teaching cooking classes. Then the path took me down a completely different route, and I became a psychotherapist. And that's what I do every day.
That's what chefs do every day, too.
Right.
Yeah.
But you were first trained as a microbiologist. Is that true?
Oh, that's true. So, yes, science degree, microbiology and chemistry. And then I thought, I was working in cancer research field before thinking, I wonder if there's a way to be on the preventative side of a cancer by preparing healthier meals rather than treating cancers. Hence why I completely overhauled my life and went to a cooking school in Boulder, Colorado, a plant-based cooking school. And so I started working as a private chef. And then the path took me down the psychotherapy. And then, as I was referencing earlier, we had an election in 2016, and it just felt like Iran, its culture, its cuisine, I think it just needed a little bit of positive reinforcement. And it felt like it was really a right time for me to come back to the kitchen and start teaching, but this time primarily just Persian cooking classes. So I have not stopped since 2016.
Really?
I have been
Yeah.
teaching 2, 3, 4 classes a month. And part of my classes is about storytelling. I tell story of my childhood, how I grew up by the Caspian Sea, and the fun memories that I have. They're not necessarily about caviar, but it's about a kid being a kid building sandcastles
Yeah.
and flying kites. And tell stories of this often misunderstood culture and underrepresented cuisine.
How many countries surround the Caspian Sea?
Oh, you got to put my
I mean, it's like
geography
it's
to
like-
test.
It's like 1,500 miles of
It
coast.
really is
yeah.
large.
I mean, Lake
yes.
Washington we think is a big lake, but it's 55 miles around.
Right. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it does not compare.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And even the regions that border Iran, there are 3 significant provinces, and each with its own very unique cuisine. So my parents come from a Mazandaran province where it has its own very specific approaches to food, and which I try to really highlight quite a few of them in the book, which really is a lot more about celebration of herbs, plant-based, and if there is protein, it can be indeed more beans and a ton of eggs. Like everybody loves shakshuka. Well, we don't call it shakshuka. There in the book, I put so many dishes that either there are spinach-driven or meat-driven or bean-driven. There's always some poached eggs in there as well, which
Yeah.
is my favorite comfort food.
Yeah, such a big item around the world in cooking. Eggs are important to every culture, it seems.
Right.
We used to do an event with Isfahan, I want to
Yes.
say. It was Sister City Project. You know, some people don't realize Seattle's a sister city in Iran, is Isfahan.
That's
and,
right.
I used to send recipes to a chef there.
I have worked with you. With
Yeah.
Chefs Without Borders.
Yeah.
I
They would send
actually
recipes.
serve as a culinary board director of the said organization.
Oh, good.
So, hence why it was really important for me to come here and
Yeah.
hang out with you and talk about it.
Yeah, I think it's a great way to keep countries together.
Absolutely.
Speaking to each other.
Right.
Over the dinner table, so many things, especially good things, can happen over the dinner table.
Absolutely.
Now, my grandchildren just want to talk about poo over the dinner table. But
we've
you
had
and
to
I can talk
institute a
about...
rule.
Culture and
Culture,
food. And caviar, apparently.
Yeah. Loretta, you have some favorites from you growing up of this type of cuisine.
I feel like I just lucked out with really good Persian cooks in my life. And yeah, my best friend as a child, her mom was Persian, Firuze, and she, every time I came over, I would beg her to make the tadig for me
Oh,
because it
yes.
was my favorite. And I have learned from my now best friend, who is also half Iranian, that she has like a special rice cooker
Yes.
to make the tahdig. And I was like,
Yes.
is this why
Oh, a
mine
cheat.
never comes
Yeah,
out?
you need
Oh,
you
that
need
is
an
it.
Iranian
Yeah.
rice cooker to get tahdig. Otherwise, it's just going to be a beautifully cooked rice, but without any.
But you
of
don't get
that
the bottom
crispy
crust,
bits.
right?
No.
Yeah.
What do you feel? I mean, because this is one of my favorite foods and I've tried to emulate it. You know, some people say you put yogurt in the bottom of the pan
Yeah.
to get the crust,
Yeah.
or there's all different kind of methods to get that crispy.
There are many different ways to make tahdig. The simplest form is just oil and rice. That's all it is. Then it can get a little bit more complex, shall we say. You can add yogurt to it, or you can completely swap out the rice and put potatoes, sliced potato,
Oh,
and
yeah,
then you
I've
have
seen
a
that, the sliced
crispy
potato and then the
tahdig.
rice on top.
That's
kind of.
right. Or,
Yeah.
or we were talking about bread and corn tortillas earlier, but like with flour tortillas, they're already perfectly round, and you can just put a little oil, a little bit of water, throwing a saffron for some good measure, and then build your rice
Interesting.
on top of it. And
Or
when
like lavash, could you use?
you can, traditionally it is more
Okay.
lavash, but here we have access to
tortillas.
perfectly round tortillas, which
Yeah.
make life a lot easier.
Okay.
Put that on the bottom, and when you cook it, you flip it over, and then you cut through this crispy, crunchy bread tahdig. And we were just talking about crunchy and how much we love.
Yeah, I mean that soft, fluffy rice next to the crispy
Yes.
rice. And then I feel like, at least my experience with a lot of Persian food is kind of the longer braised meats
Yes.
that are also a bit on the soft side. So
Yes.
you know, the crunchiness in your dish to me always comes from the tahdig. Like,
Yes.
And the way he describes his recipe is and then you bend your knees a little bit
Yeah.
before you tip your nose. A
You
little-
should,
It's cute.
you should come take a class with me.
I'm going to.
I do a slow motion
Ah.
of
Okay,
lift
okay.
the pod and at a chest level, and then how you flip it, and then pretend like you're doing a squat at the gym. You soften your knees and you gently land the plate on. So, Bethany,
Is that because you don't want to break it, or just because you like the
well,
presentation?
people, the whole idea of lifting something hot and heavy
Oh.
And
overhead,
flipping it, yeah.
right? It can be dangerous. So I really want to, the 3 words that I often talk through is do it confidently, swiftly, and quickly, right? So that you're just
Oh, that's not intimidating.
right.
even Firuze, like, who made it for me all the time, like, there is this element of tahdig for me that makes me nervous because you just
never
don't know.
know.
You
Yes.
don't know what's going to happen.
You never
You're-
know. And
It's
Did it
kinda-
happen? Did it work? Are you going to turn it out?
You'll find
and it's gonna
out.
you know,
Kind of like pineapple upside down
there's no
cake.
checking
Same
Yes.
idea.
it.
Yeah.
There's no checking it as you
Yes.
go.
Okay, so the title of your book is called Bitter and Sweet. So
Yes.
tell us where that came from. And I mean, of course, as a chef, I understand the need for both.
right.
Tell us.
Well, the titling a book is a complex process, shall we say. I started writing the book with a different title, and it was a completely different title up until the very last
Really?
second
Wow.
before it went to online resources, and the sales team decided, I think we should do something different. And some of the titles that came up, I was not going to be happy with it. So then essentially I had a year or so to think about a good title, and now I had a week to come up with an alternative. And all the good titles which we had thought of were already taken because it is 2025. And so we thought Bitter and Sweet was fitting, not only because it harnessed and captured the essence of the flavors, but also the book is full of stories. And I think as an Iranian, I have a lot of bitter and sweet stories. to
That's
share.
how I read it right away. It was like his metaphor.
as in
Right.
bittersweet?
Bittersweet
yeah.
life transitions,
Yeah.
you know,
Right.
politics,
So
all the.
it's double meaning of not only just the flavors in the book, but also the experience of being an Iranian American.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. So
One of the first things I saw was it called zuku? It's kind of like a frittata, and it has herbs in it.
Cuckoo.
Cuckoo, yes,
Yep.
K-U-K-U.
Yep.
So beautiful, but with all those colors and
Yes.
pomegranates and nuts. So I said, "Oh, I'm making it regardless, even though I can't have eggs." And you said,
Make it with tofu.
What?
Well,
With
it's not
tofu.
traditional, certainly, right?
Right,
I mean,
sure.
there is no such a thing as Iranian tofu. I remember long ago, I was a vegetarian. I told my mom that I am a vegetarian, and she thought I put tofu in everything, and she just essentially started
Ruined
refusing
it.
any food I made because she thought I had put tofu in it. But what is cuckoo? Cuckoo, you know, how I often describe it is everybody knows frittata, and everybody loves frittata. What is frittata is eggs with yummy vegetables and cheese on top. What is cuckoo, however, it's almost the reverse of it. It's all the vegetables that are then bound together by eggs, and we never put cheese on top of ours. So one cuckoo that we were talking about earlier is called cuckoo sabzi, which I just saw your team make. I was blown away to see cuckoo sabzi presented in one of your restaurants, which is a ton of herbs, and you can add some crushed walnuts and tart barberries, and it looks green. It looks like a green patty, essentially. And it is a celebration of herbs, spring, and just vibrant and healthy. But you can replace the eggs with a whipped tofu and bake it in the oven.
I'm going to do it.
It's also a nice alternative to falafel because everyone's
Absolutely.
got falafel, and that's a much more
Right.
brilliant flavored version of that, essentially.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
well, I wish we had another more time. You can come back if you would,
Thank you.
and we'll talk more through the book. It's called Bittersweet, or Bitter and Sweet: Global Flavors from an Iranian American Kitchen. Omid Rustei. Say it again. You say it right.
Omid Rustai.
Yeah, that is the author and local chef personality, scientist, dreamy man.
Thank you, Tom. Thank
All right.
you.
Next
you,
up,
Omid.
it's Food for Thought Tasty Trivia, brought to you by Rub with Love Spice Rubs on Cairo. It's the Hot Stove Society Show, 97.3 FM.
Oh.
Oh, he's serious.
I mean, election results and Cheryl. Hey, there we are.
Congratulations, Cheryl.
I sent the picture of the book to my sister Nina. She said she read your bio and she was like, "Oh my gosh, I feel like every Iranian immigrant, their story is the same. They come to be a scientist or a doctor." She's a lawyer.
So, was your original title The Caspian Chef?
The original title, no. Eric Kemp came out with a book called Korean American.
Uh-huh.
I loved that title because it told me everything about that book.
Uh-huh.
So the original title was going to be just Iranian American.
Uh-huh.
But it is 2024.
Yeah.
Having Iran in big bold letters.
Yeah.
on the cover. This is
I would have done The Caspian Chef. I think that's because
for that too, and they're like Caspian who?
that's what makes it interesting. Nobody else has done that, right?
Well, we're all Seattleites, and 5.5 people know me in Seattle. But beyond that, they were just like, it's
Huh.
a name that nobody knew.
You would second that?
Book number 2.
There is a second. Sorry, I thought I was done.
Trivia.
Trivia. Trivia. Oh boy. I thought
And
trivia
you,
involved
even in
other
trivia, you
people.
still have to stay on top of the mic.
Get really close.
There we are.
There we go.
Okay.
It's time for Food for Thought Tasty Trivia, brought to you by Rub with Love Spice Rubs and Blends. Of course, we have a few sauces. Like I had my triple garlic teriyaki on ribs last night.
For
Tasty,
the quick
tasty.
pantry meal.
When it's time to restock on Rub with Love, please visit our friends at Payless Foods in Freeland, Washington, Sonnenberg's in Spokane, Gartner's Meats in Portland, or Kowalski's Foods in Minneapolis, St. Paul, along with 5,000 other retail locations around our country and world. Becky,
Yes,
why don't
Tom?
you tell people how the game is played
Sure.
and who's going to win and what they're going to win?
Okay, I can't tell you who's going to win, but each of you get 5 questions, and we've got the wonderful Caspian chef Omid Roustai here as contestant number 2, and the winner will pick out someone in the audience to take a stroll through the gift shop and pick up a 3-pack of spice blends. So,
All right.
we're going to start with Loretta. Have you seen this before, Omid? Have you heard this show?
I have. It's been a while.
Okay. Well, Loretta will show you how it's done.
So, all right.
Number 1 is multiple choice. Which French cheese is traditionally recognized by the line of ash running through the center? Is it Camembert, Morbier, or Humboldt Fog?
Humboldt Fog. Well,
It's-
Morbier.
It's Morbier because Humboldt Fog does have that ash, but it's a Californian one.
French.
Yes. Okay, number 2. It seems like Cacio e Pepe, Italian for cheese and pepper, is having a moment, and for good reason. This classic Roman pasta dish creates its creamy sauce without cream or butter. Instead, it comes from the emulsifying grated cheese, black pepper, and what?
Pasta water.
Pasta water. Good job. Number 3. True or false?
Can you explain that just for a second? The pasta is the starchy cooked pasta water,
Yeah,
right?
so once you cook your pasta, then you use that same water because it has the boiled off starches.
Yeah.
And you whisk it with Parmesan, and it creates a cheese sauce.
That's awesome. Okay. True or false? Lettuce is the vegetable whose name comes from a Greek word meaning milk due to the white sap found in its leaves. Is that true or false?
False.
It's actually true. And I remember making a canless salad, and they described that you take the romaine lettuce, you cut off, no, you don't, no, and you put it in the fridge at night with about an inch of water, and then the next morning, no, actually you cut off the bottom core, and that white milk leaches out, and it's supposed to make the lettuce sweeter, less bitter.
Wow.
Little fussy.
And yet people go out and buy lots of radicchio because they want bitter.
Exactly.
So like, which is it?
Yeah, yeah. Maybe they've changed their tune. This was a long time ago. Number 4, what ancient fermented drink made from honey is known as the ancestor of all alcoholic beverages?
Mead.
Mead it is.
Good one.
Final question. Chutney is a condiment that originated in India, typically made by cooking fruits or vegetables with spices, vinegars, or citrus juice, and what? We've got vinegar or citrus, fruits, spices. What's it missing?
You're looking very sweet today.
Sugar.
Sugar. Nice help, Dad.
Thanks, Dad.
All right, Omid, you ready?
Oof.
The Caspian Chef?
Wow.
Okay.
His book is called Bitter and
Sweet.
Sweet.
What?
Honey.
That would have been a better clue.
Oh, this is funny. This is just a coincidence. What bitter salad, green, sometimes called curly endive, is famously served with lardon and a poached egg in French bistro culture? What's that green?
The salad's name itself.
No, the lettuce.
Oh,
It's not free. It costs money.
Radicchio?
Frise.
Frise.
Yeah. That was kind of funny,
That was a
wasn't
weird clue. I wouldn't have got that.
it? Okay. Number 2.
I would have said escarole. 'Cause
Escarole?
I don't
Yeah.
like frisee.
I know.
I love
that's-
escarole. Yeah.
Number 2. Which pungent ingredient is used in both kimchi and Caesar salad dressing, but rarely called out by name in American menus?
Fish sauce, anchovies.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Anchovy fish sauce. Good job. Number 3. What is the name of the tangy, lemony spice made by grinding dried green berries of a Middle Eastern plant? It has a deep burgundy hue.
It sounds like I should know this.
Well, would you like options?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. Every time.
We've got lemongrass, sumac, or za'atar.
Sumac.
Sumac it
Yeah.
is. That's one of my
Sumac.
favorites. Number 4, what fermented Korean dish made from cabbage and spices is rich in probiotics?
Kimchi.
Kimchi it is. But not everybody knows that.
I do.
I know you do. You're making some. That's right.
Remember our
Yeah.
series the last 4
Yes.
weeks? Yeah.
Final question, true or false? Broccoli rabe is the same plant as broccoli, just harvested younger.
False.
That is false. Despite the name broccoli rabe, rapini is a different species entirely and is more closely related to turnips. So you and Loretta,
I
You
did
got
not
your
know
4.
that.
Yeah,
Close
I
to
didn't
the
either.
to turnips.
so 4
When
out
you think
of
about
5.
the turnip greens on top, that makes a little
That-
bit more
it
sense.
does,
yeah.
All right,
Nice
Tom.
job.
Nice job.
Thank you. Yay.
Okay, Tom. Spaghetti alla carbonara is rich, silky, and often misunderstood. Many versions use cream, but traditionally that's a no-go. The authentic sauce comes from combining eggs, cheese, black pepper, and what?
Well, typically it's egg yolks and maybe not even a whole egg.
Okay.
But eggs, cheese, black pepper, and pancetta.
Pancetta or guanciale or, yep,
Yeah.
you got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 2, true or false? Broccoli was first domesticated. Excuse me, Sean, can you help out with that one? Number 2, true or false? Broccoli was first domesticated and cultivated in Italy.
100% true.
It is 100% true. In fact, the word broccoli comes
The
from
Italians are like the Greeks. They started everything.
Did they?
Until China was formed. Then China did it all.
All right. You mentioned this earlier today. Beef chow fun, a classic Hong Kong stir fry, typically includes beef, wide rice noodles, and bean sprouts. What other vegetable is commonly added?
Well, we're on a broccoli theme, so I'm going to say broccoli.
Scallions or green onions?
Oh, but they're usually often in the noodles. Like
What?
my chow fun has scallions in the noodles.
Oh. Well, then I'm going to give it to you. You know more than I. All right.
Whoa. So unlike you to be so giving.
Well, that kind of blew my mind. So,
Ah.
yeah. Number 4. Which U.S. state produces more than 90% of the nation's garlic supply?
California.
California it
Yeah.
is.
Castro Valley.
Have you seen it? You've been through
I have.
You've driven
yeah.
through? Yeah.
It smells like garlic, oddly.
Final
I also
question.
do artichokes in that area.
I've
so.
seen those. Beautiful. Which legume is high in plant-based protein and traditionally used in Indian dal?
Lentils.
Lentils it is. 5 out of 5.
Oh, I'm only going to take 4 because one was not
Beef
right.
chow fun doesn't have broccoli.
All right, then so I just fell for it.
Yes.
That's what you're saying. Well, then we're going to do a tie
Beef
with Tom
Potsy, you
and
have
Omid.
broccoli.
And it's
Tiebreaker
here
with
we
Tom.
go. What is the classic French knife technique where vegetables are cut into thin, match-like stick? You can yell it.
Chiffonade.
Julienne.
Julianne.
Matchsticks.
I was
He was so confident.
excited. I meant to say Julian.
Sure.
I even used the word Julian in the book.
Well, thanks for playing.
Thank you.
If you want to be part of the show, you can join our community on YouTube Live at Tom Douglas & Co. or buy a ticket to join us in the studio right here. You've had so much fun today, haven't you? Yeah, exactly. Show is produced by Becky Guzak. Our technical wizard today is Nico Caballero. And our talented editor at Cairo is Sean. Please don't call me Del Torre. And if you miss any episode of our Hot Stove Society show on Cairo, please just listen to your favorite podcast station.
Every time we're going to switch it up and make it worse. Thank
Thank-
you for listening.
Good job. I like
He
it.
hates when I say station.
I know. Well, it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make
She'd rather say,
it just
listen to your
shows-
favorite podcast situation.
Yeah.
It just shows
Isn't
that
that
you've
such
never
a
listened to a
30
podcast in your
30-something?
life.
I don't listen to podcasts
I
very
know.
often. Yeah.
It's clear.
Well,
NPR says wherever you get your
Favorite
you get
podcast.
your podcast.
Yeah,
Not no
like-
favorite. Just
my station for podcasts is Spotify. So
Spotify's
you could
not
be
a
wrong.
Station.
It sort of is. It's a music service. It's a Spotify. It's a
it's a streaming
podcast
platform.
Service. It's a streaming platform. It's my station.
It's like
Hi, I'm quiet on the set.
is-
Hi, I'm Chef Tom Douglas.
and I'm Loretta Douglas.
Today on the Hot Stove Society radio show, Pamela Hinckley, our old pal, is coming back up to see us from the Pike Place Market Senior Center and Food Bank to highlight the important work happening there, including Stone Soup. Chef Chris DeFord takes us inside the world of craft brewing at Gallagher's Where You Brew in Edmonds, and the Caspian chef joins us to share his new book, Bitter and Sweet, Global Flavors from an American Iranian Kitchen. Whew, that was horrible.
Was it too long? No.
I
maybe
got a
like
little.
to embellish.
I got a little.
You embellished on it all. And you're not a chef.
Did I call you a chef?
Oh, that's funny.
Hi, I'm Chef Tom. I have never made a mistake before, so this is new territory for me. Hi, I'm Chef Tom Douglas.
And I'm Loretta Douglas.
Today on the Hot Stove Society radio show, Pamela Hinckley of the Pike Place Market Senior Center and Food Bank highlights the important work happening there, including Stone Soup Luncheon coming up. Chris DeFore takes us inside the world of craft brewing at Gallagher. Chris DeFore takes us inside the world of craft brewing at Gallagher's Where You Brew in Edmonds, and the Caspian chef joins us to share his new book, Bitter and Sweet, Global Flavors from an Iranian-American Kitchen.
There we go. Good job.
Much better.
Much better. All right. You guys have it nice and full?
Thank you all for making the effort to get here today. Hopefully your $30 was well spent.
Another thing I thought about is before you leave, we should get
Yeah. Good point. Good point. Hey, did you call this meeting or did Becky?
I did. Why are you going to skip it if I did?
Lori was so happy to get your blessing on this farm contract. No, I'll get to it today. You need it today?
We're just gonna have to get my tape a little while to go change it.
Okay.
Thank you. Hopefully you won't have to do any other.
Why isn't he doing anything? He's not participating. He's an introvert. I have, a couple times. Well, of course there's favorites. Can you get into them is another story. My favorite is to go hang out at CalPEP. Sit at the counter. They do have some table sitting, but I like to sit at the counter. And typically it's two people deep behind the person sitting there waiting. So you just have to line up behind the chair. It's really difficult to get two in a row. So you might have to eat by yourself or separate a little bit. But sometimes, like, we ended up getting it. We waited an extra 20 minutes, I think, to get two together. But it's kind of a classic Barcelona restaurant. Everyone goes. It's super popular. There's a place at the end of the Ramblas down in Barceloneta, which is old Barcelona, and it looks it. There's a place, and I don't know the name, that had the best beef, octopus, and tomato paella. And it's just a big pile of beef and grease, and lovely. Paella is generally from another region. I think Madrid is famous for the noodles paella. That is with an F, paella or something like that. But just go with the flow. If you want vegetables, you have to order them. There's they have a eggplant, pepper, and tomato salad generally every place. But as Americans, we're used to having big salads. It just doesn't happen there. There you go.